Hey guys, GamingG423 here, and today welcome to the 7th week of the Grotti Turismo World Championship, and today done on Vinewood Ring GP, made by Major Copyright himself. Quite a long track for this one, and a hill track for this week. And
An explosion on the explosion.
sorry for the late upload, firstly, and also secondly, I would like to give credit to Moshots for this footage. I know Mo, I didn't possibly actually ask you, but I need to put out a video somehow, so sorry about that, Mo, but hopefully you don't mind. And as you see there, the grenade went off, and all the cars went off. Pretty decent turnout for the 7th week, 13, and this is the week where it kind of like decides almost where people finish and people lie. But currently, Mo has the Turismo glitch, so he kind of loses a few positions out of that. But as you see there, Vitti goes up. Vitti was lagging very badly this race apparently. Jessa lags out, so there's a lot of lag towards the second half of the season, and it really shows in this race. But this is where Turismo gets played in a lot. Like, that doesn't usually happen with Turismo glitch. But as he went up to the pole, Stig got involved, and he accidentally blocked him, so had to wait for him. And as you see, there's still Turismo glitch affecting Mo. It's really quite frustrating for him, because he knew he could still have it in the title. You know, he could still go for it. But after this week, he lost all hope and really motivation in this championship. So it's quite unfortunate to see, but you know what, things happen. Hopefully he can have a better season too. And as you see there, he tries to get in and get out of his car to stop the Turismo glitch, but nothing seemed to be working. He does eventually get rid of it. I'm not sure exactly how far. I think, yeah, now he might have got rid of it, or a bit later on, but he eventually does, and he starts to catch up, but it's not enough to catch the leaders, because he's quite far behind in last. So it's quite a sad story as such this week for Moshots, but unfortunately, for me, of course, I actually didn't participate in this race because I had some things to do. So I had Kenra as my reserve, starting in second place, and he did really well for me. He actually finished in 5th, and that got me a lot of points for the last week, which should be coming out very soon. And actually I only had about 15 minutes of this footage, because Mo actually DC quite early on in the race, so and as you can see there, catching up to Enforcer, he loses his bonnet somehow. I'm not sure exactly how, but anyway, as we go into the first half of the lap, the track's actually split up into 2 sections, and there's a slight interchanging between the sections, but there's not too much of a crossover as such. It's not affecting anyone's lines. But as you see there, gets position on Enforcer and goes around into the second, into the going towards the second half of the track. And again, it is frustrating to see Mo's perspective on it, but I know he wants to kind of forget about this race. But anyway, as you can see, towards the second half of the season especially, things went really downhill with a lot of changes within our crew and etc. And as you see, they're catching up to Stig and Ballistic Blaze, I believe, is that? Yeah. And they're having a battle, obviously, so Mo can easily catch up to them. So as you see, they're going through the tunnel in the Galileo ring section. Ballistic Blaze has a bit of contact with Stig, and he takes out Stig, and he got a bit frustrated there because he's pacing quite hard, quite well, but now lost even more time to the leaders. So yeah, as you can see, they're now going into the second half, where you'd usually turn right. You go left now into the second half of the track towards the second lap. So quite a long lap, about a 4-minute-ish lap time. Not sure exactly, but as you see, that most frustration in the nod of the head he was not able to pass Stig as he just hit him in the back. So it was very frustrating for him. But see that bottom left, Copyright does enter in first, and obviously his track he has a bit of an advantage. But the actual battles that were had at the top of the pack were apparently very good from this race, especially between some of the leaders as in Design and Fancy Cup. But as for Mo, it was quite unfortunate. But eventually managing past Stig, he now focuses on Ballistic Blaze, catching him down, and just really wants to be consistent, don't want to make any mistakes, as that'll cost him even more time to the leaders, and you want to close down that gap so much. And obviously keep the pace up at the same time, but he's got a hard job on his hands. It's not easy. And then obviously Ballistic Blaze, he spins out there due to his own accord, but Moshots now moves into 8th position, and the current standings were Copyright, Kenroy, Fancy Cub, Shadows Design, McVitie, and I think Kenright was in 2nd, sorry, and Moshots in 8th. So yeah, so as we just approach, like just past the 2nd lap, oh yeah, Daifu was also in this race. Believe this is his last race because he couldn't attend the final race. However, he lagged out a lot. He was lagging a lot and eventually lagged out. I'm surprised Vitti doesn't actually lag out because he was lagging a lot as well, apparently. But as I was saying, we just started the first half of the lap in lap 2. So as you can see, it's a really long lap. So therefore the pit windows were very minimal. I believe it was 3 to 5 or 6, and then 9 to like 13, and there was only 14 laps, so pit windows were a bit constrained due to the lack of laps in this championship. So as Mo is kind of having a bit of a boring race as such, he's just kind of trying to get the most out of his of the current situation, really. Actually, I mean, he hasn't got much to go for. I mean, there's a lot of time that he has to make up to the leaders, and actually there's not that much footage I have for this race, as he does end up either leaving or disconnecting very early on, as I said. But at this point, I think I'm gonna leave the footage to just play out. But hopefully, sorry for the bad, as you could say, bad video. It's quite poorly made. However, I didn't have much to work with this week. So again, thank you so much for supporting me through this championship, guys, and it's been a great season. Look out for the 8th week highlights. That will be much better highlights. I have my own footage for that, and that was a really great week for me. And so I'll just let the footage play out. Thanks again, Moshots, for allowing me. Well, you haven't allowed me, but for letting me use your stream footage. And I'll see you guys for the week 8 highlights. See ya.
Fuck. fuck? You fucking lagging, motherfucker. God damn, Viddy. Did I pass him? Oh, cool. Bitch.